Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome to Cool Sports Guy. I'm Tom. Joining me today is Jarrett. How are you today, Jarrett?
Pretty good as always.
All right. Pretty good. We're never great. We're never bad. We're pretty good.
Always in the middle.
All right. Well, I'm not as good as always because Super Bowl is over officially and there's no more NFL football left. There is other football left, but there's no more NFL football left. So
who doesn't enjoy watching Paxton Lynch and Ben DiNucci throw a football around?
I feel like I could play in that league, but
we had this discussion at the Super
Yes.
Bowl. I think I could too. Honestly, who doesn't want a 6'4" receiver? I could definitely do it.
Who doesn't want a 5'6" quarterback?
Touche.
All right. So clearly we don't know enough about it to talk about it. So we're going to actually go back to our topic, which is the NFL. So a couple of things today. So obviously there's going to be a few free agents, few people looking for some trades. And of course, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. And that's what we're going to start with. So Chiefs, Eagles, another amazing Super Bowl, high scoring game. And of course, naturally, the Chiefs are behind late in the fourth, or not late in the fourth, but, going into halftime at least. And they crawl their way back. So what are your thoughts? Look at Andy Reid looking on.
I don't know. Overall, I think it was it was a great game. One of, the better Super Bowls of my lifetime. You couldn't really ask for much more. It was the best quarterback in the league versus, an up and coming great quarterback, a great coach versus an up and coming coach. The Chiefs, even though with the best coach, their best quarterback and one of the best coaches in the league, were still, I would say, heavy underdogs in that game. That Eagles team could honestly go down as like the best team to not win a Super Bowl because this team was stacked from top to bottom at every single level.
One of them, yeah, for sure. I think so.
I'm not going into depth to say like who exactly it is because I don't have it off the top of my head. But
07 Patriots.
It's definitely up there. Obviously, the Patriots are up there too. Winning every game but the Super Bowl. That's pretty.
That's
the
best team to not win it, I think. But I could see this in like the top 7.
This Eagles team was insanely stacked. That defensive line, literally like their seventh string defensive tackle is like a starter on most other teams. Like this team was stacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great team. Chiefs, it's really hard to bet against, the better quarterback, which is why I picked the Chiefs to win. But it was a great game. I get, this is kind of like a week later, but the whole holding call should have been called, shouldn't have been called at the end. I hate the logic people have that you can't let a call decide a big game like that. Because do you remember the Rams-Saints game? Like that was the conference championship game, wasn't it?
That was the NFC championship game.
Where they didn't call an obvious call and then people complained. This was an obvious call and people are still complaining. So people are just going to complain about the refs no matter what. I thought it was a well officiated game. There wasn't a lot of bad calls. Wasn't perfect by any means, but it's never going to be perfect. That's what human error brings to, being a referee. But it was a great officiated game, great game overall. I think the Chiefs deserved it, and they obviously came out on top. Both teams played near perfect games. I really do think that Jalen Hurts fumble 6 was a huge deciding factor in that game. Yeah.
Yeah. Big time. A couple of things. First of all, I was not dabbing. I mute my mic and then I sneezed. Excuse me. So I not to get into details, and I don't want to go crazy on it, but that Rams and Saints game, I think the biggest problem there was a flag was thrown, and then it was just picked up and said there was no penalty on the play. And that game, that game didn't necessarily decide the game fully, but if that flag was given to them, Saints basically won that game. Just like, the Chiefs getting the flag here, they were just able to run the clock out and then just kick a field goal. So the game was amazing. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, I got to give him all the credit in the world. Yeah, he, you could say he threw for less than 200 yards, but I mean, he's still on a messed up ankle, put his leg to work. ran when he needed to, made all the throws he needed to, got 3 touchdowns, and did he get a rushing touchdown too?
Oh, dang, I should know this because it wasn't
got...
that long ago, but
yeah,
you know, the Alzheimer's is kicking in. I don't like
but overall, I mean, played great. I mean, when he was needed, same with, you know, the entire team. And I will say this, the Chiefs defense, obviously because of Mahomes and Kelsey, I feel like they don't get the credit they deserve now. Obviously the Eagles did keep scoring on them, but there were a couple of key drives where they were either stopped or, you know, held to field goals to give your offense a chance to come back and win the game. And that's exactly what happened. The fumble pick six was a giant factor in the game. Which is a mistake. I get that. But what pissed me off more, and I think I said this while we were watching the game, there was a completion that went to the 19-yard line, and there was 10 seconds on the clock, and they actually let the clock run out all the way to the 4-second mark and called a timeout and kick a field goal instead of taking a shot to the end zone, settle for the 3 points. I think that actually frustrated me a lot more. And if they would have figured out a way to get a touchdown right there, that may have been the deciding factor in the game as well. So I'm just want to throw that out there. Eagles did mess up. They kind of let off the gas thinking, hey, we're ahead. You're never ahead enough against Mahomes. You're just not.
Speaking of Mahomes throwing for under 200 yards, so the Chicago Bears' wonderful quarterback, Justin Fields, he did that numerous times, and people immediately were like, oh, he didn't throw 200 yards. That's a bad game. But, like, it's one of those things. You can't just watch stat sheets to decide if they played good. Yeah, he didn't have that many yards, but Mahomes had a near perfect game, in my opinion. Like, he was unbelievable throughout the entire thing.
I think he had one of the highest completion percentages in a Super Bowl.
It was, and then they had a run game, so they didn't have to rely on him passing every play. So
he was amazing.
I'm just saying that this is. I'm basically just going into how I hate stats, and stat sheet watchers are the bane of my existence because stats don't matter as much as people make it seem like they do.
The objective is to win the game, and they won the game. When they needed to go get touchdowns, they went and got touchdowns. And when the defense needed to make enough stops, clearly they didn't like shut them out in the fourth quarter, but they made enough stops for the Chiefs to make a comeback. And that's exactly what happened. So just what do you I guess what's next for the Eagles? We'll start with them. We'll start with the Super Bowl losers. Hangover going to be a thing? Are they going to come back? What does it look like?
I don't know if you know this. They are losing a lot of free agents. TJ Edwards, great linebacker, not talked about nearly enough. Javon Hargraves, solid defensive tackle. He's going to be. I'm not saying they're gone for sure, but they are free agents, and they may, go for the money rather than take a pay cut to stay in Philly. I don't know for sure. But there's a lot of pieces that the team will be losing. And then, you still have to pay Devontae Smith soon-ish. You have to pay Jalen Hurts. They don't have all of that money to keep this entire core intact. But I think they have enough pieces overall that I don't expect... I don't think they'll be nearly as dominant next year as they were this year, but I do think that they will still, be a playoff contender. It won't be like the Rams or, the kind of where they win 6 games the year after making the Super Bowl. It's not going to be like that
100%.
Kind of a thing, but as of now, I wouldn't predict them to be back in the Super Bowl, but obviously things change. We don't know what the final rosters are going to look like, but I still think that they're going to be a very good team.
Yeah. I think they're going to be very good. And listen, I think it's proven time and time again that in most cases, Super Bowl hangover is a thing. That being said, they are in the NFC, and it's not like there's a lot of competing factors right now, right? We don't know what. I don't know. Are you going to. I don't think the Bears are going to be ready yet, right?
No, I don't think the Bears are going to be a playoff contender till 2024. I think we rebuilt this year. We're probably going to win 7 games next year. I would say 7-8 range, be like that on the cusp, but just not there yet.
Yeah.
And then the next year, I think that they'll be more of a contender per se.
Yeah.
But the
20 and
NFC
0.
is still weak. Yeah, obviously. But I don't know. The 49ers, I think, will be up there depending on how the quarterback situation shakes out. I think they should stick with Trey Lance. They traded, 3 first-round picks to move up and get him. You have to at least see what he has to offer. But the 49ers have a solid team throughout, very much like the Eagles. They have so much depth, and they don't really have many weaknesses, if any. The Cowboys, I think, will be a regular season contender. I'm not ready to say they're a playoff, a contender to make a deep playoff run yet. They had one of the best defenses in the league, and it was probably the best defense I've seen from the Cowboys since I've watched football. And they barely beat the Buccaneers, which I know they had Brady and all, but the Buccaneers were not a good football team this year.
No. Terrible.
And they looked awful the next week. The NFC really isn't that tough.
Look, here's what I'll tell you. There is one team that can compete anyone in the NFC, and that's going to be the New York Giants after paying Daniel Jones $45 million.
If the Giants pay him $45 million, the Giants might be losing Saquon Barkley. There's rumors he's coming to Chicago. I don't really want him, but it's a cool name to have on the team. The Vikings, I think, are a good team, but I'm not picking a team with Kirk Cousins playing quarterback to go to a Super Bowl. I will never. If they got a better quarterback, I would say the Vikings have a good shot, but I'm never picking a team with Kirk Cousins at quarterback. He is absolutely the most mid quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
Isn't it crazy how good he puts up numbers sometimes, and then
That's why I'm saying stats don't matter as much. Because
pack.
if you go based on stats, Kirk Cousins is top 5. He's an elite quarterback. If you go by actually watching the games, he's incredibly mid. He's like in that 12 to 15 range. 12's even kind of pushing it.
It's like Jefferson's got to be out there somewhere. Just toss it up in the air. Okay, so Chiefs dynasty.
Okay, see, I could be crazy. So correct me if I'm wrong. I know a little bit. I'm a Bears fan. It comes with the nature. But when I was growing up, all I remember was a dynasty was winning 3 Super Bowls in 4 years or something. I feel like that was the definition of a dynasty.
I think we're just considering that the definition of a dynasty because the last team that was considered a dynasty was the New England Patriots, and they won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years.
That may have been what it was, but if there's not a proper definition for what a dynasty is, I think you could very much consider the Chiefs a dynasty. They're in the AFC Championship game every damn year. They have now 2 Super Bowls in 5 years.
3 appearances.
They it's as close as you're gonna get besides winning Super Bowls every single year. So I would consider them a dynasty, and I think that for the entire length of Patrick Mahomes' career, I think he's going to be very much like a Brady, where if he's on that team, no matter how bad it is, I think that they'll compete for a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, I'm the biggest Brady fan ever, but I will say if Patrick Mahomes keeps up the way he's playing right now, he is going to be the greatest quarterback to ever play.
I think he, without a doubt, is already probably in my mind the best quarterback to ever play. But I think best and greatest are 2 different things. I think best is talent, greatest is accolades mixed with obviously you have to have talent, that kind of a thing. But I think he could definitely pass Brady as the GOAT.
Oh, he could. Yeah. I mean, it's just my biggest concern is he is a mobile quarterback. He does like to run around a lot, which means more hits. I just hope he takes care of his body. He is a lot of fun to watch, and man, I hope he sticks around the next 10 to 15 years at least. So, I wouldn't say at least. I guess 10 to 15 years. He's already.
Oh, he's gonna play for another.
He's already been in the league for almost 6 years now. It's crazy.
He's got to play. He's got to play at least 25 seasons minimum.
No,
it's required.
Crazy? He needs to. No, dude, don't be.
I'm joking. Chill.
Whatever. Okay, but back to the Super Bowl next year.
Can we? Okay, so I may change my opinion because we have to. The offseason hasn't even started yet, but I could very well see it. I like as of now, I know it might come across as recency bias because they just won the Super Bowl. I could very well see them in the Super Bowl next year. A very underrated move that happened at the trade deadline, which I think said player had a solid, second half of the season and Super Bowl. But I think Kadarius Toney is going to have such a good career if he sticks with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes.
Do you remember when I brought him up? And I was like, the Chiefs made a good move. And I was like, the Bucks probably could have used him.
Yes. I also, as soon as it happened, texted the group chat and mentioned that I think this is going to be an underrated move.
I don't remember that.
It's there. I'm not going to go back and find it, but it's there. Because Tony, I don't think Tony's ever going to be that like elite number one guy, like dominant receiver, but he's such a like electric like gadget guy on offense that you could do so many things with him that I think that he's going to be an insane weapon for Mahomes.
Yeah. Well, I also partially do wonder how much longer Travis Kelce's going to keep playing, though. He's 33. Now, 33 is not that old, but that being said, he's a tight end. He does run around. Most receivers / tight ends, you don't really ever see them play, I don't know, past 35, 36. Am I crazy here for saying that?
Tony Gonzalez, I think, played till like 38. If I could be wrong, I want to say he played till his late 30s.
You might be right. Gronk is broken down.
Yeah, the difference with Kelce and say like Gronk, I'm not meaning this to be disrespectful to Kelce. He's not a tight end. He's a receiver.
Oh, no, I know. I get that.
So he doesn't do the like dirty work blocking type stuff that most tight ends do that like puts wear and tear on their body. He's just straight up a receiver, which again, their shelf life isn't to like 45 unless you're Jerry Rice. But I think that Kelce's going to play either till his late 30s or till he's just like, I don't care if I still have it in the tank. I'm just going to retire. I think that with his play style, it doesn't need like insane athleticism. So I think he could play, honestly, as long as he wants to.
Yeah.
I think he still has at least 3 more solid years in him.
I could see that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking 36 probably. So, I mean, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm going to make it count while they still got him because he is such a big weapon for them. It's ridiculous. But anyway, enough with the Super Bowl. Congratulations to those Chiefs. We are going to move on to a couple of our favorite quarterbacks ever to play in the league. GOAT 1, GOAT 2, and GOAT 3, which is GOAT 1, the greatest of all time, Jimmy Garoppolo.
We have, Carson Wentz with a jawline. We have the man who's on a darkness retreat. And then I actually like Derek Carr. I'm not going to insult him, but.
Derek Carr's awesome. Don't you dare insult him. Okay, so where will they go? You know what? I kind of want to make it easy on myself. So let's start with Rodgers.
Am I going first, or do you want to go first?
I guess I'll go first. He's gonna go back to Green Bay. That's where he's going. They owe him too much money. And right now, if I'm a general manager, the man is, how old is he? 38, 39 years old?
Yes.
Yeah. He has a crazy ego, does some weird stuff, which, hey, do what you got to do, but you are a quarterback. You need to lead a team. And he doesn't go work out with receivers during the offseason. There's nothing appealing about him. And plus, you know what? He cost a lot of money. A lot of money. And you have to give up. What are you going to give up? How many picks are you going to give up for Rodgers?
I'm not even saying this as a Rodgers hater. I would not offer a single first round pick because he is so talented. Don't get me wrong. Like
Rodgers is one of the best I've ever seen.
But I think at this point you can't throw away your future for like a year, maybe 2. He threatens to retire every offseason for the past 3 years. I don't know.
He is coming into $60 million. As rich as he is, I don't think that's a lot of money. Isn't it like $58 million if he comes back and play this year?
It's insane. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a lot of money.
That's crazy.
But with Rodgers, if I'm not cutting you off.
Go ahead. I don't have any other team on me. I legit think that he's gonna go back to Green Bay.
My gut is telling me that he's going back to Green Bay because he's the bane of my existence and I'll never get him out of my life. But the only other option I could even see is the Jets because their owner has came out and said he's like, I would trade 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers, and I think the Packers would be insane not to take that deal. But I don't see him leaving Green Bay. I just don't.
Jets have the cap space for that though. I have no idea how it works. Never mind. I shouldn't have even asked that question.
I don't. The Jets are a relatively young team, and I don't know any players on their current roster who take up a big chunk of cap.
That is fair.
Off the top of my head, I don't know because all of their better players are like rookies or on rookie deals.
I said this before, and I think you were the one that kind of said that I was dumb for saying it, which I think you were correct for saying it. But I mentioned trading Dak for Rodgers.
And some sports page actually tweeted about that.
Really?
Yes. I don't remember exactly which one it was.
Look, first of all, Jerry Jones will love it, I think. I don't know, man. I think they could be contenders. They're in the NFC. You're not worried about Dak producing in the NFC with Green Bay.
I mean, that'd be a good move for the Cowboys, honestly. You get out of that Dak contract.
For the Cowboys, I think it'll be more favorable for Aaron Rodgers than it is for him to go to the Jets and have to play against, well,
all of the best quarterbacks
defense, but it is what it is at this point. But Miami's good, Dolphins are good, but then you also, like, if you make it out of your division, you're looking at, I don't know, Chargers, Jaguars, the freaking Bengals, Patrick Mahomes. I'm not gonna say Russell Wilson, maybe Sean Payton.
I think Russell Wilson. I don't think he's gonna be like an MVP or anything.
But I think he'll be much better.
I think he's gonna have.
You know what annoys me? I'm sorry. You know what annoys me is that. So first of all, I always argued for Russell Wilson, and then I admitted I was wrong. That Russell Wilson was probably done with. And obviously, you know me, I kept blaming Wilson for Nathaniel Hackett getting fired. What's going to annoy me is he's going to do good this year. And I feel like a lot of people are going to say, well, he just had a bad first year because it was his first year. He had to get used to things. And like, no, it's because Sean Payton probably is making his life a lot easier for him.
Sean Payton is such a good quarterback coach. Like, it's absolutely insane. He made Jameis Winston, like, people thought Jameis Winston could be a franchise quarterback because of Sean Payton. That's how bizarre it is. I was one of those people. I was like, Jameis Winston could be a franchise.
Call him the GOAT.
I've called so many people the GOAT. We don't have to get into that. But I think whenever we did our quarterback rankings, I think I had Winston in the top 15. I think I had him at like 14 or 13 or something. Sean Payton does mysteries. I don't know what he does. He made Taysom Hill look like a functional quarterback sometimes.
Yeah, well, sometimes. All right, Rodgers, here's your choice. Jets, go back to Green Bay, finish out your career, or you can go to, but isn't going to the Jets just like Brett Favre too?
Yeah.
Which
is funny.
Yeah, that's
history
epic.
Repeats itself.
Right? Or hey, go to Dallas. I don't know if he wants to be in a Dallas uniform though. Rodgers in a Cowboy uniform, I think it might make him like him less.
I can't like him less. So, one thing I want to add, I think he honestly would retire, but I don't think he's going to retire because Brady retired, and he doesn't want his Hall of Fame ceremony to be like overshadowed by Brady. I firmly believe that. Excuse my language, but Aaron Rodgers is an attention whore, and he is going to not let that happen. So
he's just going to wait for nobody to retire a specific year and then retire?
It'll, as long as it's not the year Brady retires, I think he'll do it because like he's not going to get overshadowed by many people, but Brady is one of the people who will definitely
100%.
overshadow him.
Yeah.
So I think he plays at least another year just to get out of the Brady year.
But $58 million.
It's a lot of money. It's a big chunk of change.
Yeah. I think so
You,
too.
you know who has like a $59 million cap hit going to the next year?
Who?
Michael Thomas. They can release him and like they save like a ton. So he's definitely getting released. I think we all know that.
I think that
But
man's gotten
it's
like 10 million per catch at this point in the last few years.
well, I don't. There was his last season where he was actually healthy. He had like 140 receptions or something, and then he like hurt his toe.
When was
He's been
his
out for
last
3
season when
years.
he was healthy?
I think he's been sitting out for like 3 years, 2 or 3
Yeah,
years.
that's my point. Like, well, when was he healthy?
I don't even know because he.
forget. We
It was
go
like
into
a
a draft
toe
now,
injury.
I forget Michael Thomas exists.
Yeah, he had like a toe injury and then was just like never heard from again for 3 years. And then he came back this year, and then he like re-hurt his toe, and now he's out. I don't know. I don't have words for you. I don't know.
Wasn't the ball thrown to him during that Rams Saints NFC Championship game?
I don't know who it was thrown. I don't think it was him. I think it was a smaller guy.
It
I
was
could be
him or
wrong,
the number 2 receiver, one of them. I can't remember who it was.
I know who the cornerback was, but it was Nick. Oh my god, what was it? Just knew his name, and then I thought about saying his name, and then it disappeared. Something. Oh my god, I'm not getting into it. I don't.
We're
know.
not gonna go off track here. I will look it up though. But you know what? I'm gonna let you take Jimmy G while I look this up.
Jimmy G. There's not many places I could see him starting. Sadly, I do like Jimmy G. He seems like a cool dude. He's your mom's favorite NFL player, you know. But not yours specifically, your mother, but just everyone's mother's favorite
NFL player might be Tom Brady because she doesn't know anything about the NFL and she knows I like him. So
fair. But no, he is everyone's mother's favorite NFL player. This might be a random one, but I think he could go to Tampa Bay. That's my pick. He would start in Tampa over Kyle Trask. If they don't want to rebuild, he gives you something. I don't know exactly what it is, but you could maybe make a playoff run with him.
yeah, I have Tampa Bay but Tampa Bay is my second choice for Jimmy G. I think my number 1 choice is Las Vegas.
Vegas, I didn't even think about that, even though there's literally a player in a Raiders jersey. That's a really good one. He has the connections to the Raiders GM
And McDaniels.
Yeah. I think I like that pick better than the Buccaneers.
Yeah. And plus, you know what? Josh McDaniels right now is the quarterback he has in hand right now is Jarrett Stidham, who's also a backup quarterback in New England. So I can totally see that being who was number 11 with the Saints? Because Michael Thomas is 13, right?
Michael Thomas is 13, yeah.
I can't tell who that receiver is.
Number 11. This was probably some third string. I don't know. I hopefully I'm not being disrespectful. This is someone I should know.
I know.
I
can't remember who this is. Let's see. Lewis.
Oh, was it like it's like Tommy something Lewis, I think.
I think so. Well, it was thrown to him. And I'm trying to see who their defender was. I'm actually looking up the play here. I'm also looking at Sean Payton going nuts right now.
Tommy Lee Lewis.
Roby Coleman was the defender.
That's what I was trying to say, and I could not. I like thought it, and then it just went. It was gone.
Well, there you go. So no, it was not Michael Thomas. I apologize. I just remember watching that game and I was like, oh my God, like what? The Saints just won the game. And then like there was a flag and you're like, oh, there you go. And then there's like, there's no penalty. And it's just like, wait, what? Anyway, sorry. So Las Vegas, trying to get back on track. I think it's my favorite landing spot for Jimmy G. But here's the thing. Listen, I've advocated for Jimmy G before because I think he's a good quarterback, but I think he's a good quarterback when he stays healthy. But he also makes some dumb decisions sometimes, kind of like stepping out of his own end zone. I mean, it's no, who was the Lions?
Oh,
Dan
Dan
Orlovsky?
Orlovsky.
Yeah. It's no Dan Orlovsky, but Jimmy G, I guess Dan Jr. you can call him. But nonetheless, I think those are it. I also don't know. I mean, yeah, he's good, but how many teams really want to sign him when this kid's literally hurt after playing like 5 games a season? He stayed healthy one season, team went to the Super Bowl, and then lost. I mean, great, you went to the Super Bowl, but like it's not like he did anything crazy to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think he's a game manager, and like not to be completely disrespectful, but he's not a guy who can like. I think you can win a Super Bowl with Jimmy G if your team is good enough. Like if he was healthy this year, I think the 49ers probably had a really good shot of beating the Eagles.
Oh, 100%.
But he's not a guy who can go out and win you a Super Bowl like Mahomes can.
But I think if Brock Purdy stayed healthy, he probably had a shot at beating the Eagles too. But I think that's what...
I wouldn't say that because I'm very anti Brock Purdy, but
yeah, I know.
I could see the debate.
Lance.
Brock Purdy is a game manager too. He's not anything special, and people act like he's like the next coming of Jesus Christ.
I didn't say he's special. I just think that
I'm not saying you specifically, but everyone does.
He's a good game manager.
Yeah, I think I could put him in that like.
Sometimes that's all you need.
That 15 to 18 range for quarterbacks at best. I'd probably put him lower to like 25. But
when you have a top 5 everything else.
Hot take, I would take Andy Dalton over Brock Purdy.
Like right now, Andy Dalton?
Right now, Andy Dalton.
Right now, Andy Dalton.
Mm-hmm. Brock Purdy doesn't do anything well. He's a game manager.
What does Andy Dalton do well?
He's just a game manager.
I'm not even gonna argue on if Brock Purdy's good or bad here. Do you think?
I don't think either of them are better than the other one. They're the same player.
And why would you take the other guy over this one?
Because Andy Dalton's the hair. Because he's a former Chicago Bear, so he always has love in my heart.
He was also a former Bengals.
I don't care. He was great with the Bengals.
Yeah, he was pretty good with the Bengals.
We did not forget
Red
about
Rifle,
Bengals
baby.
Andy Dalton. Red Rifle was a legend.
You know what? I would like to see him in Houston. Calling it right now. Said it. You heard it here first. All right, let's talk about the guy who's actually from Houston, Derek Carr. Where is he gonna go?
So no one follows me on Twitter, but I did tweet this out like a month ago whenever it was the whole he was getting released thing. And I could change it because there's some places that maybe make more sense, but I'm sticking with it. My pick for Derek Carr is the New Orleans Saints. He has that connection to Dennis Allen, the head coach. It's about all I got. He just looks like he'd be on the Saints, and that's all I got for you. I don't think he's going to have as many suitors as he's going to expect. I know there's the Panthers is a good one, but I don't think Frank Reich is going to go with another veteran quarterback. I think he's going to want to get a young quarterback to build with because his time with the Colts, he got stuck with like 37 retirement home quarterbacks.
Okay, but Derek Carr has at least 4 years left in him. All the quarterbacks that Frank Reich kept getting was just like, hey, you can come in maybe last 6 months and then like, I don't know, bye.
I mean, Carson Wentz is younger than Derek Carr is.
Carson Wentz was like, it was like, here's a guy who was ran over by an 18-wheeler truck. Like Carson Wentz was done. It was like when they traded, which team took Sam Bradford? Do you remember? I know this was a while ago.
Well, he went to the Eagles, and then he got traded to the Vikings after that.
Yeah. Do you remember his condition when he went to the Vikings where he lasted like 2 games?
No.
Yeah. That's what Carson Wentz reminds me of.
Damn, Sam Bradford's a name I haven't heard in so long.
It just reminds me because there was like literally memes and cartoons about, yes, this is how long ago it was. It's cartoons about how Sam Bradford was just like dumped to his new team in an ambulance. That's how hurt he used to get.
Sam Bradford was supposed to be like the next great quarterback, you know, being the number 1 pick.
He was good when he was healthy.
When he was with the Rams, he was solid. For like they almost made the playoffs his rookie year. They lost in week 17 to Seattle. I think that was the year of the Beastquake, if I'm not mistaken.
2013 or 2012, one of those.
It was before that. It was 20.
Oh no. You're talking 2009. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was Bradford's rookie
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, that was the same year against the Saints where the run happened, right?
Yeah, I think that the Seahawks beat the Rams to make the playoffs to then make that play happen.
Yeah.
But Bradford was solid. I know we're getting hella off track talking about Sam Bradford,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, Sam Bradford, that's a cool
That's
name.
awesome. You know what we should do is one day we need to just literally go back the next 15 years or 20 years and just pick all the number one picks or the number one overall picks and just see where they're at.
Okay,
I think that'll be a fun journey. A lot of Browns quarterbacks in that league, so I look forward to it. Okay, here's the thing. Panthers are definitely a better suitor, in my opinion, than the New Orleans Saints. I think they're in a better position to win. And Derek Carr, he's healthy. He's not like Carson Wentz, and he's not like 38 years old, where he barely has a year left in him. He could still play. But also, if the Rodgers thing doesn't happen, if I'm the Jets, I'm looking into Derek Carr. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm definitely looking into Derek Carr. I don't think Tua is the answer.
We can disagree on that, but
okay.
Tua, when he was healthy, was playing great. It's just
that's my point. This whole idea of when he's healthy, he's good. Okay, well, you have to be available to play. There's no point of me paying somebody millions of dollars, and by me, I mean an owner. I don't have millions of dollars to come in. Sure, you could sell some tickets. They probably make money off of it. Okay, if that's the case, then great. But if you're actually trying to win and you're thinking there's Jimmy Garoppolo, what's the point of signing a guy who there's at this point, I think there's a 70% chance he's not going to make it to the end of the season. Is that really who you want?
Tua's things wasn't because it's not like normal injuries. Concussions is a different thing than just normal injuries for me. It's not
100%
brittle bones, weak ligaments. It's just unlucky.
I understand, but Tua also came into the league with a hip injury.
That is also
right. It's not like he came in and the only thing he's ever dealt with is concussion. He looked good this year before his concussions with dude. Look at the offense he has. You're telling me if you take Tua out and you put Derek Carr in with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you think Tua's going to look better than Derek Carr?
I didn't say all of that. I'm just
okay.
I will say I think Derek Carr, he did kind of have a rough season this year, and I think that's kind of I don't know, stuck in my mind. Oh, I'm sorry.
Bless you. Bless you again.
I don't know how to quickly mute, so I can't do what you did. But I think I think it's probably recency bias with Carr, even for me, and I'm admitting it's recency bias. But this off year kind of concerns me for if he could, come back from that. I think any quarterback would look very good with Miami, with Hill and Waddle, and Gesicki is basically just another receiver. Their offensive line is okay, but I feel like you got to stick with Tua personally. He's still on a rookie deal, so you're not paying him that much. Now, if you get an option to get some elite quarterback, then for sure you can move on. But as of now, I think they should stick with Tua.
Okay, can I throw another team in there for you?
Sure.
Hey, you know who might take less than $45 million to play for a winning team?
I don't see Carr with the Giants, though.
Why not?
I don't know.
He's never had a defense. They have a defense. Carr has never had a defense.
What about the Jets? I could see him with the Jets.
So it's the first team I said.
The Giants, I just don't see. I can't. I don't even have a reason for you. I know that's such a bad thing to say.
The way you just said I can't, it was just
I can't. I don't know. I don't know. This doesn't make sense to you, but in my head it makes perfect sense. I just can't picture him with the Giants.
But okay, do you think Derek Carr is a number 15 or higher rated quarterback in the league.
I think he's around 15.
He's around 15. You know what that tells me? There's 17 teams that could use him.
I mean, if it's between Daniel Jones or him, and I'm the Giants, I'm definitely picking him 10 times out of 10 because Daniel Jones is worse than mid.
That's my point. You have it's not a trade. This man's gonna be free.
My thing.
Well, now free isn't like money, but like you don't need to.
But like Daniel Jones, like I'm not saying this is the correct thought process, but NFL GMs love young quarterbacks, especially when they're tall white dudes, and they're gonna be like the potential of Daniel Jones. I'm gonna stick with him.
You have the
Jets, love their tall white dudes. That's all I'm saying.
Or Carr, that like right now you have a team in your hand that are that are competitors. Tua or Carr gives you a better chance. I think Carr gives you a better chance. Daniel Jones or Carr gives you a better chance. I think Carr gives you a better chance.
You can hate me and I will stand with it, but I would pick Tua over Carr, but I'd pick Carr hella over Daniel Jones.
I don't hate you. I'm just disappointed in you.
My only thing with Tua is he sucks to play with on Madden because he's left-handed, and left-handed quarterbacks are lame.
Out of here. Are you serious? Bro, Dave Carr, and I almost just said David Carr. Derek Carr, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Just saying.
Listen, I can't think of the Dolphins GM's name because I think Stephen Ross might be the owner. Is he that's the GM?
Owner. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
I don't know who the GM is, but call up Stephen Ross and sell him on this point to get rid of Tua and sign Derek Carr.
Falcons.
I think the Falcons. I'm not saying it's correct.
I'm gonna go through the list here.
The Falcons, I think, want to stick with
the Browns.
The Browns are paying $1 bajillion to the masseuse. That's not gonna happen.
The Colts.
Please don't do that to that man.
They are a good team.
Don't do that to that man. Don't do it. I think they'll be better without Jeff Saturday as coach, but don't do that to that man.
Patriots could use him. Ooh.
They would. I don't know. I feel like they like their boy Mac Jones.
They are, dude. I don't think Belichick is the biggest Mac Jones fan.
I don't think anyone should be a big Mac Jones fan. He's very mid.
Hey, Steelers.
I think they're not going to give up on Kenny Pickett yet.
They probably should bench him somewhere.
He was the 20th, 22nd.
Here's a hot take: Ryan Tannehill or Derek Carr.
Oh God, Ryan Tannehill. I am so low on. It's not even funny. I would go with Derek Carr.
Okay, there's like 6 teams right there. I still can't believe you'll take Tua over Carr, but
I'm sorry.
I understand Tua's younger and might be able to play longer, but like it's like, hey, do you want a quarterback that's going to be pretty solid for 7 years, or do you want a quarterback that's going to be really good for 4 years? And
I'm a Tua guy though.
Yeah, I get that. I guess you can't let your bias come into play here.
It's not a bias.
Now that Brady's gone, I'm like the least biased person that's ever going to be.
But no, you're saying bias. Awesome. Like I'm saying, I like him because he's like. I'm saying I would pick him because I like him. I like him because I'm good. I'm saying I'm a Tua guy, as in I think Tua's a good quarterback.
Okay. If you say so.
It's a difference. No, me being like the Bears are going to the Super Bowl, now that's hella bias.
Remember when Tua threw like 5 interceptions against the Packers? Oh, was that one of the games where he was concussed?
I think it was, yes.
Gosh, that's sad.
Listen, the Dolphins don't need to get a new quarterback. They need to get a new medical staff. That's what they need.
Yeah, I guess.
But,
all right. Well, listen,
none of this matters because Justin Fields is going to be the greatest quarterback ever starting next year.
There you go. That's like the 97th person you called the greatest.
See, the thing is, I've been calling him the greatest, so this isn't a new one. I love Justin Fields.
Good luck, buddy. Good luck. Here's what I'll say. At this point, I don't care where Jimmy G goes because 4 weeks in, it's going to be some other quarterback probably playing because Jimmy G can't stay healthy. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a drama queen, but I think his end of his career is very close. I'll be very surprised at this point if he wins the Super Bowl.
He's not.
Wherever Derek Carr goes, I will be rooting for the guy.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
my stepdad's a Raiders fan, and he's very upset about them getting rid of Carr.
yeah, your stepdad's a smart man. They should not have gotten rid of Derek Carr.
I don't know if he's that smart because he's a Raiders fan, but it is fair.
They won before, buddy. Raiders were a good team at one point.
20 years ago.
Really good. Yeah, I know.
It's been a minute.
Hey, you know what? Do you remember when Derek Carr actually was probably going to win
MVP? Broke his leg.
Yeah.
They played the Texans in the wild card, and my stepdad was going to buy it. Like, he's like, I don't care how much it costs. I want to buy tickets. And then Carr broke his leg.
Yeah. Well, they probably wouldn't have even been playing in the wild card if he didn't break his leg, because they were tied with the Patriots for the number 1 seed.
I don't know how you remember that, but they were great that year.
You know what year that is?
2016.
It's a 28-3 comeback year. Yeah, that's 2016. I remember so many things about that. I remember a lot of details about that year because end of 2015 season, like after the Super Bowl and stuff was done, I believe it was, they announced Brady's 4-game suspension. And right when they announced that Tom Brady was going to be suspended for 4 games for Deflategate, I remember right there and then I was like, this man's winning the Super Bowl this year. The NFL just made the biggest mistake they've ever made. So I remember watching the 2016 season like a hawk.
Fair. Do you know who the Raiders' starting quarterback was in that wild card game?
I don't remember. I know that they put up like a total of 17 points that game, though.
I thought they only scored like 3, like the Raiders. I thought it was like super low scoring. Like they didn't do anything.
I don't even think I paid attention to that game.
So don't ask me why I remember who started that game, but the starting quarterback they were the Oakland Raiders at the time, was Mr. Connor Cook.
That is correct.
6th round pick out of Michigan State.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken, John Gruden said that was was the number 1 quarterback of the class. He loved Connor Cook. Who I remember Connor Cook starting that game, and I never heard from him again. So
nope.
Do with that information what you will.
What you will. Fair enough. Okay, we have about 10 minutes left. Hopefully we can just take like 3 more minutes of everyone's time. I want to ask you a quick question. If you're the Ravens, what are you doing?
Give Lamar Jackson a check with a blank, just a blank check. Pay the man. People don't realize how hard it is to get a franchise quarterback. Lamar Jackson, do you know how much he does with so little? You are giving him like retirement home Sammy Watkins, DeMarcus Robinson, who wasn't even good enough to make the Chiefs roster at receiver. An offensive line is okay. They have an injured running back trio. Mark Andrews is good, and their defense is solid. But he weapons wise, he gets nothing to work with, and he won an MVP. Have you seen what his top receivers were the year he won MVP? Because I know that's been a debate. It was a bunch of nobodies, and he won MVP.
Okay, no, that's not fair because of the year he won MVP because of his skills with the legs.
You're very much underselling his pass. He's not a bad passer.
No, he's a good passer, but the year he won MVP,
I mean, it was a big part to do with his legs, but his passing game was also very solid that year.
I guess.
I think.
Can I ask you something?
With his receivers like that, he has to use his legs.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
If they pay him with this blank check, can he stay healthy?
They are getting a new offensive coordinator, and I think Greg Roman, who was the former offensive coordinator, his entire playbook was just running Lamar into the ground, and they didn't let him pass. I think you have to let him pass and protect your quarterback at least a little bit. I get he's a scrambler, so you can let him run, but you got to protect him a little bit. I think Lamar is worth the contract, personally.
Now, I'm going to ask you a real question. Do you think he was hurt enough not to play? Or do you think it had to do with money?
I honestly never thought about that. So I don't have a thought about answer, but off the top of my head, I think it comes across as he was... I don't know. The money thing does make a lot of sense, but I think it was just because he was actually injured.
Okay. So here's I have 2 takes on this, right? One, he was actually injured. And I'm worried about how many times he's been injured already in the league. And I get it. Hey, maybe they're changing things with the offense. Maybe he won't be in facing that much danger. If that's the case, great. Or two, he wasn't as injured and he stayed out because he needs some kind of guarantee, which kind of raises the question. Like, I was wondering this the other day. If Patrick Mahomes just played in a Super Bowl with an injured ankle, if Patrick Mahomes didn't have a contract yet and his team was in the playoffs and he hurt his foot, do you think he would want to keep playing? Or because he doesn't have a contract, he'll say, I don't have job security or I don't have money security. I'm hurt and I'm not going to play.
Putting it like that, I think money might have actually, because, like if he gets hurt, like worse, to where it's like a serious injury, he's still on his rookie deal, so he gets nothing. So that is a very good point.
But my question to you is, if Mahomes was on a rookie deal and he got hurt like Lamar did, or he got hurt like Mahomes did, would Mahomes sit out? Or
are we talking about like injured at the same time he did in real life, but just on a rookie contract?
I'm saying Mahomes literally, let's say that the year he just had, was on his rookie deal. Got hurt in the playoff. He's going into the playoffs. He got hurt. Would he want to keep playing, or would he stay out?
I think he would stay in just because he doesn't have an injury history. I mean, he missed like the one game in the playoffs a few years back against the Browns, but he doesn't really have a serious injury history. And so I don't think that would affect his contract that bad to where they're like, oh, you get injured too much. And the expectations were very different from the Ravens to the Chiefs. Chiefs were in the divisional round already. Were going up against debatably, the easiest team left. That's puts you very close to a Super Bowl. I think you play. Lamar Jackson, the entire team was, banged up, injured. He's been injured for I think he missed the last 6 weeks. He missed a lot of time at the end.
He did.
And they were playing the Bengals, which is a much, more intimidating team, which I don't know if that comes into account, but I
find this whole thing fishy because the reports are he's injured, but there's no clear-cut report on what he's injured on.
Was there not? I don't.
Well, there was body. Whether it was his knee or shoulder, one of those. But there was nothing.
I think it was his knee
at all about it. It was just like, oh, my knee hurts, I can't play.
Well, what I saw was it was his knee, and the injury recovery time was, I want to say 4 weeks. I don't think they even put him on IR.
No, they didn't.
He was out 7 weeks or something that.
Yeah, he was out almost half not almost half the season, but more than a third of the season. I guess the point I was trying to make across, and you can call me crazy, I know it's a leap. I think that's the difference between a Patrick Mahomes and a Lamar Jackson. I think Patrick Mahomes could have been hurt, and if he's still able to go on the field and play, he will still play and try to win. And I think that's why Patrick Mahomes deserves the contract he has. I don't see Lamar Jackson doing it. And you can make an argument and say Lamar Jackson's not doing it because he doesn't have the money yet. But if you're willing to let your team, 52 other men, go out on the field and lose a game. By the way, if Lamar Jackson played, I feel like they would have won the game against the Bengals.
That's fair. I mean, they did have Pro Bowl quarterback, Tyler Huntley. So
either you are, shut up. Either you are injury prone, or you're willing to say, pay me, or I'm gonna sit down and watch you guys lose.
I do think Lamar Jackson has injury issues, but that it's a tough situation because it's so hard to get a franchise quarterback. You're not going to find someone as talented as Lamar that easily. Let me finish. But I get what you're saying is because, availability is the best ability. It's kind of like one of those things where, like hypothetically, the Eagles or the Chiefs, where they had a franchise guy like Carson Wentz or Alex Smith, but they wanted a better option. So, the Chiefs traded up for Mahomes, or the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round when Wentz was coming off of like a great year. You can always look for something better, but I don't think just like getting rid of Lamar is necessarily the option either. I think honestly you can re-sign him, and if you halfway through the season don't want him anymore, you could probably trade him for something.
Yeah, but can I ask you something? Where's Rodgers at right now? If you sign him to a giant contract that he wants halfway through the season, you don't want him, you want to get rid of him, and you try to trade him, and he has this giant contract. First of all, if he's doing good, the Ravens wouldn't try to trade him. Ravens would try to trade him if he's not doing good. No team's gonna touch him with that that much of money.
You could do a franchise tag, and then trade him.
He doesn't sign it. He doesn't have to sign a franchise tag.
Well, then he can just like not play.
He might do that.
Well, if he doesn't sign the franchise tag, then it's the same thing as letting him go.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I mean, I get it. Hey, you want to get paid and all that kind of stuff, but like from a team, I don't necessarily fully blame. I feel like a lot of people are blaming the Ravens for not paying him the money he wants. I don't really blame him. We have no idea what's going to come out of Deshaun Watson. All these quarterbacks who's getting paid like crazy.
Okay, the Watson one was a dumb deal when it happened. Everyone agreed to that.
Dak Prescott got paid.
Well, it's the same thing with like the Daniel Jones situation, which I'm not saying like pay Daniel Jones by any means, because there's what you're expected to make as a quarterback when you're in the upper tier and the bottom tier, but that middle ground, you don't know if they fall into the like franchise quarterback pay or the like mediocre veteran pay, and that's why they always try and overshoot to get like that $45 million for Daniel Jones. It's really hard to pay a quarterback who's not definitively like top 5, top 10, because any of the guys ranked like 12 to like 18, they're going to think of themselves as a franchise guy and want that franchise guy money.
Sad.
Kirk Cousins makes like $1 bajillion and he's mid as hell.
Decision.
But I think Lamar, talent-wise, is good.
Yes. We'll see. Well, we'll see where he ends up. Maybe he won't be with the Ravens. I'm just saying right now, I don't think Lamar is the answer. But I've said that before, and I've been called crazy. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, do you have anything else to add? We got like 60 seconds.
I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to check out our website, coolsportsguy.com, our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Have a good night.
Deuces.
Nope.